Welcome to The Patty Show. My name is Patty Setiatti, and in this podcast, we'll explore the crossing point of the three P's: passion, pleasure, and positivity, and how they can lead you to your own personal paradise. We'll chat with inspiring guests, share practical tips, and dive into stories that will empower you to live your best life. Let's get the Patty Party started. All right, welcome back to The Patty Show, everybody. Woo! Oh my. Wow, studio audience, you guys are going crazy. I love this new little setup. Love you too. We'll get back to the whole setup, but welcome back, y'all. Season 3 of The Patty Show. We got part 2 right here. Episode 29, Pleasure. Unlock your potential. Embracing body positivity. Yeah, it's a crazy time. Cozy. Episode 29. Time is flying by. I can't believe it. 2025 already. A lot of stuff has changed in the best way possible. A lot has happened. Yep. And we'll get to that eventually. But shout out to the last episode with your boy. It was me. I had a little recap, mid-season recap episode. Fun time. Season 3 is going to be full of more surprises, just like this amazing set, as you can see on YouTube. We got some good visuals over here.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful guests. Oh, vibey.
Very
exactly.
vibey.
All that stuff. And speaking of vibey, I have a little intro for my guest that's bringing the vibes and bringing the good energy. I don't know if he's ready for this because I didn't tell him just yet. All right. So my guest to my right, joining me is the man with a voice as smooth as butter. Ooh, I'm trying to do an imitation. I can't do it as good yet. Energy so radiant, it's easy to gravitate towards him. Oh my goodness, look at that. I'm gravitating. Sorry, I have to get back to the mic. And of course, he has the height that matches the phenomenal presence. Give it up for my brother, the ladies' man himself, Chris Hudson. Come on now. Woo! My brother.
Thank you, man.
Arigato.
Great to be here.
Thank you for coming today, and thank you for... We'll get all the thank yous and all the flowers out of the way eventually, but, bro, please give a little intro about yourself, background, life story, passions, work, and eventually how we met. Please, the floor is yours, my man.
Wow. So, my name is Chris J. Hudson. I go by professionally Chris J. Hudson, and I'm originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Shout out Phoenix. What is y'all symbol? You guys have a LA has the...
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll do P for Patty. There we P. We're not doing any gang signs here. Please.
No gang signs.
Please, we don't do that. Ironically, it's kind of funny that since we're in the sets, where are we, by the way, bro? Before we continue, actually, tell me more.
So we're right now broadcasting from the American Cholo Studios here in North Hollywood, California.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I have imposter syndrome. It's crazy, bro. When I came in here, y'all, I was just like, he saw me. My eyes were all over the place. I'm like, what in the world? It's crazy. We're going to talk a little bit more about that eventually, but please continue, man. So Phoenix, Arizona, you're also a young father?
I am. Yes. I've got a 13-year-old boy. He's an amazing kid. Keon James. Shout out. And I was a young father. So in the grand scheme of things, grew up small town. At least small town feel. Phoenix is, when I was growing up, it was the 6th largest city in the nation. And now it's number 5. But I grew up on the north side, so North Phoenix, Deer Valley area. And that's the burbs. Capital B burbs.
Capital B burbs.
So, right, small town feel, very picturesque childhood.
Like cul-de-sac kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. It was like the neighborhood where, all the neighbors on the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, that's Mrs. Wilson, 3 doors down, and she's baking cookies.
Yeah, if it's like a cookout, everyone's going to end up coming with a kind of vibe. That's awesome.
Neighbors, we liked trusted each other. Kids from the neighborhood were going over each other's houses.
Using the bikes and
playing hockey in the street.
There we go. Okay.
And just, basketball, football, all that kind of stuff. Back when kids were still going outside.
Yeah, I know that's right. Technology now, it's crazy.
Yeah, they don't even, it's no, I don't want anything but the phone or the iPad.
Yeah, the iPad babies, it's great. I have little siblings that are well, not little siblings, cousins that are basically like my siblings in Indonesia. They're like 2 years old, 4 years old. They already have like phones better than mine. Like, come on now. Like, my phone is always bugging out. They have like that, what's it called? Those, shout out China, Xiaomi, Redmi, all those crazy phones for gaming. Like, and they're only like 2, 4 years old, 6. Oh man, it's crazy. I miss the simple days where we're just, like you said, biking around, playing a little basketball. And that's actually perfect because this guy is tall as hell. I kid you not. What, 7 feet?
6'4".
He's lying. Because that makes me like 5'8" then. And you know, I'm 6 feet on a good day. You know what I'm saying? But
larger than life personality.
Bro,
This guy, larger than life personality.
I'll pay you later, bro. I got you. Appreciate you, bro. But bro, how did we met, and how did our you know, honestly, I asked myself this too. Like, how did our lives just align?
Well, so I came out here for music. Moved to LA when I was 30 for music, and had a couple cool opportunities.
You said 30?
30.
I thought you were 27. Oh my God, black don't crack, y'all.
Black don't crack.
Before, what's the secret? Is it how do you stay so young and youthful? And you said 13-year-olds.
Yeah. So I had it when I was 25.
Wait a minute, I'm 26, bro. Wait a minute. Do I have to make some calls? It wasn't me. I promise. I promise it wasn't me. Latvia, Estonia. Oh, I have to. That's for another time, y'all. Maybe we have the Patty Show on the road again, the European places. But yeah, so you went here for music, but also you do a lot of other stuff, man. Please walk us through that whole thing.
Well,
a lot.
So I've always been a DIY. I grew up in a DIY family. So like my dad, you know, instead of calling the plumber or the fix-it guy, you know, he has tool. His garage was like that show Home Improvement, Tim the Tool Man Taylor. He had like all the gear, and he would be always, you know, fixing something, always have a wrench in his hand. He was an engineer.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So
he was Asian?
No.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. He said engineer, and I'm like, yeah, you never know, because you give off the vibe, bro. Like I said, my brother right here, you know.
It's the Zen. It's the Zen factor.
You know, the Zen factor.
Yeah, and we'll get into it, but I have some meditation, some background in studying spiritualities and Buddhism and things like that. We can get into it.
We're gonna get in there eventually. But you said, home improvement, all that stuff, yeah.
So we kind of had the let's do it ourselves type of, you know what I mean, mentality. And so when I started getting into music, I wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna do lessons and then show me how it's done. It's like, nah, man, I'm gonna grab the manual. I'm gonna watch. Well, back then there weren't YouTube videos that we could go to. YouTube wasn't even a thing. So, you know, you just ask around, read the manuals, and experiment until you figure out like how to plug things in, you know, how to navigate the software, how microphones worked, phantom power, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of, you know, just jumped in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to let anything stop me, if that makes sense. So getting good with music equipment in order to create helped me learn audio, because, you know, once it's recorded into the computer, then it's just audio, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, I could continue doing music, but also, you know, you got to be hustling out here. You know what I mean? You got to have more than one pursuit. I'm like, I know how to record anybody. If they just wanted to do voiceover or podcasts, which is why we're here, it's like, oh yeah, I can engineer a podcast. I can run a board. No big deal. You know, even though I sing and play piano, it's like, why not learn the equipment too? Why not have to rely on anyone else?
That part.
You know what I mean? Especially if you have a dream and you don't have necessarily the monetary resources, the money to make it happen. It's like, well, let's find out another way that we can make it happen. And if it's like, oh, this guy's going to charge me, like my first demos when I was doing music, I asked for a loan from Moms.
Shout out Moms. We love you.
Shout out Moms. My number one fan. We took out $3,000. Oof. And we went to a studio, nice studio. Guy had a gold record, Luna recording studio down in Tucson. And I already created some beats and some songs and stuff. And so I'm like, all right, I don't know how to mix. I'm not an engineer. So, the music's recorded, but somebody's got to apply
doing the
all
little
the effects and stuff to make it sound good. So when you play it in the car, it sounds dope. So when you play it in the, boombox or whatever,
or you
know
played
what I mean?
in the
Bluetooth
bedroom,
speaker. Or if you played in the bedroom.
Because he's a very smooth man. R&B, right? That's the main
R&B.
thing. R&B.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Got to bring those smooth vibes.
Of course. I told y'all, ladies, man. What did I say? What did I say? Oh, so that label, how did that all turn out then after the whole, $3,000 and everything?
Ooh, so I learned a lot of lessons. But the number one thing was, if I'm going to continue it, because the product came out, right? It was to create a demo. And so I created a demo and like, back when R. Kelly was still in good graces with everyone.
Oh, man.
I had a connection through a family member to R. Kelly. And so they're like, okay, we get this done. We get it to him, get it to the cousin, and the cousin's going to get it to his friend, who's going to get it to R. Kelly, right? And so I paid a lot of money. We're in the studio for like a couple weeks. It comes out, it's finished, and I press play, and I'm like, it sounds okay. But it wasn't, I didn't get to do everything that I wanted with it. And I said, okay, well, maybe it's just because I didn't have enough money, we didn't spend enough time, or maybe it was that guy wasn't a hip-hop engineer. You know what I mean? So as far as like giving it that bass, that,
That oomph, that extra.
excuse me, that sub energy. Subwoofer energy.
There
You know what I mean?
go,
So
okay.
that it bangs. Maybe that's just not his thing. So it didn't come out the way that I wanted it to, basically. And I knew how I wanted it to sound. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, next time I'm just gonna get the equipment and do it myself. And so it didn't end up making its way into R. Kelly's hands because the guy that was close to him, something happened and they stopped speaking to each other. It was like one of those type of situations where it's like, you know what, you have that window of opportunity for just a small amount of time, and it took too long. So I had the demo, but I didn't have that connection anymore. But I learned a lot, right? I had a finished product that I could show people. You know, to be like, hey, I do music, and like I'm pretty good at it. Right. So I continued on that path and getting better and better and better. Right. Bought my own equipment, started doing it myself, and started having people start to take notice. So I was adapting. Right. I'm an R&B guy, but I was in Phoenix. And at the time when I was growing up, so this would be like 2005 to like 2012, right around there. The market there's no R&B market really. Yeah. It was like people like hardcore rap, or they like hardcore rock or country. It's a big country town, but like there wasn't an R&B market. So I was like, well, I do like rock. I was in the burbs, right? I was in a school where there was like 20 black people, maybe 30, maybe 30.
30 and a half.
Of like 1,000 kids. We are 5A school, so that's like the biggest in Arizona. The biggest type of schools are 5A schools. So like 1,000 kids, and like 20 of them were black, right? So, so my friends around me, they were like, "Oh, you like Jay-Z? Well, we like Radiohead, Coldplay, these guys." And so, at first you're like, man, that's whack. But eventually, you know what I mean? You start hearing songs around, you're like, I like it.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah. So we start exchanging, and then they listen to Jay-Z. Oh, I didn't like that song. I was like, well, I got a song that you will like. Yeah. So eventually we start,
mixing together the culture. Wow. Okay.
So my friends started listening to rap, and I started listening to rock. And so I said, well, nobody's listening to R&B, and I want to make music. I want to be playing in bands and being on stages and stuff. So I'm like, well, why don't I just sing rock? Like Coldplay is like melodic. It's not like, it's not like dude screaming.
It's not screaming. Coldplay, hard play or something. Right?
Yeah, there's no
like a wrestling, or like those wrestling songs like, get out, I want to pierce my brain like a crazy dude. Like
right.
Like the crazy one, yeah.
So I was like, I can do some more melodic stuff like that. So I did a band. And that band was okay. They were okay as instrumentalists, right? But we were really good at creating songs. So it wasn't like a Zeppelin, like, they weren't that good. They were pretty new to their instruments, but They are all very creative as far as their ideas. So we ended up putting together some pretty cool songs. Now, getting into the studio. So,
yeah, talk me through it.
So once we get into, we all had dreams, right? My dreams are probably the brightest, right? I was the most focused on eventually getting to LA because I have an uncle who worked in TV here. And so we grew up coming out to LA, and it was like, LA was the promised land.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like everything's basically dead in Phoenix. It's like, you know, dirt and cactus and rocks.
The desert. Yeah,
you know, it's a desert, right?
Desert,
so it's like California, lush, green, beaches,
movie stars, all that
movie
stuff.
stars,
Yeah.
beautiful ladies,
shout
right?
out
Like everything, man. And, you know, and here it's like it's a land of plenty. You know what I mean? Whereas like in Phoenix, you know, my parents were, you know, from the hood, grew up, you know, food stamps and stuff like that. So it's like they were not like, oh, let's go out to restaurants, let's go to the movies all the time and stuff like. It was like no. It was very, very like Spartan. You know, we're gonna give you what you need, but not necessarily what you want. Those
the bare
things,
necessities,
the bare necessities, right? And so those things, they said you could do that when you get a job and when you do your own. You know what I mean?
Own
when you're
pursuits.
on your own.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. No problem, moms, right? So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, now I got to dress fly.
Yeah.
You know, I get
Come
grown.
on now. Look, if y'all can see, we matched not on purpose actually.
No.
Funny enough, it's crazy. It's the opposite. So I got white on the inside, black over there, black on the outside, and white over. That's crazy, bro. I can't. That was wild. But also speaking of wild, before I cut you off, we got to talk about the story before coming to the studio.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we just gotta, cause I'm still processing that too. I'm sure you are, but this man, first of all, flowers again, flowers to you, my man. Thanks for having me on the studio. Thanks for always supporting from day one, y'all. We have a lot of stories from our time at Squid Game. It's a lot of funny stories. I'll talk about how we first interacted eventually, but this guy always supported me from afar, from close.
Yeah.
All the good energy.
Absolutely.
You know, you're killing it with all that music. I love the R&B stuff. Let's just say I played on the background during some activities for Valentine's. Sorry, mom. We love you, mom. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say he's my wingman on and off the court, as they say. But bro, I'm so grateful for you, man. Also, I'm glad you're safe, because before this, y'all, man, he calls me. I literally get to the studio area. I'm like pulling up. Chris is like on calling me. I'm like, oh, I hope everything's okay. He's like, yeah, man. Already from the tone of your voice, bro, I was like, oh shoot, what happened? Like, he's like, yeah, I got a hit on the highway. I'm like, whoa, what? So I pull over and I'm like, hold on, let me FaceTime you, bro. Like, making sure you're okay. I FaceTime you, bro, and yeah, walk me through that whole thing. Like, someone hit you, like the car, or what? What was that?
I got rear-ended on my way over. No, did he?
No. I was about to say too. I was just saying he got hit from behind. No, hey, bro, you said R. Kelly first, bro. So I didn't. You know, that's what the party. You know?
Hey.
One day we'll get R. Kelly on the show.
Hollywood secrets. No.
R. Kelly on the show, everybody. He's actually right behind on the camera. No, I'm kidding. Unless you want to be on the show, that would get a lot of views. Probably not safe though.
Definitely not.
But you said you got rear-ended.
So yeah, that guy just wasn't paying attention. He was just, you know, he was saying that he's having problems with his girl and is distracted, and the lights were out, so it was like they were just blinking red. So, you know, it was just, when that happens, it's a stop sign, right? So 4-way intersection, and he just like saw people moving and thought it was a green light and didn't slow down, and he just hit me right into the intersection. So I was kind of leaning forward in my seat, and when he hit me, like, you know, fly back and hit my head, and I was just like kind of out of it.
Yeah.
Kind of out of it. So I was like, well, hopefully the car doesn't have too much damage, and you know, can I still do the show and all that, you know, and you know, just like, what are we gonna do as far as like, who should I call for the, you know,
the insurance stuff is like crazy, and, bro. Yeah.
Should you get a policeman to come out? It's like there's so many things to think about, and when you're like, I couldn't imagine if I was like actually injured. You know what I mean? Like being able to think about all the steps that you need to do. So it's good to have like one of those little cards. You know what I mean? You could just read it and be like, oh yeah, I got to do this step, and then take a picture as the next step, and then
That's a good tip, y'all, because you never know, like with accidents. Because this guy's one of the safest drivers out there. Have you been in an accident before, like car or what? Recently,
Someone's hit me 2 more times before this.
Okay.
And I've hit someone once, but it wasn't my fault.
That's what they all say.
That's what they all say.
Let's just say he wasn't alone. There was another pet. He was playing his music a little too loud.
No, they were at the top of the hill, so there was no visibility.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And so like you get over the hill, and they were stopped in the middle of the road.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So like I didn't have enough time to stop to hit the brakes when I was coming back down. I was like, all right, well.
I mean, that's just a reminder of life. You never know what's gonna happen, y'all. Just be safe out there, and that's a good tip actually. Like having the step-by-step thing, like what you got to do, maybe like call insurance or whatever that is, because when it happens to you, you won't know what to do in the moment. To be honest with you, like and you got like bumped a little bit on the head, but you're okay though, my man.
Yeah. I had a headache for a little bit, and I was a little foggy, but. It's been a couple hours now, I think. So
yeah, we've marinated. He's safe. Like I said, more flowers.
I got a Coke Zero.
Shout out Coke Zero. One day you gotta sponsor the Patty Show to get our own studio. Yeah,
that's right.
That'll be a blessing right there. But like I said, I'm grateful for you, my man.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're safe though. That's because I was really shocked. I was like, what in the world is it? They don't want us to spread the message of body positivity and good vibes. Come on now.
But you can't keep a good thing down.
You can't keep a good thing down. Let them know. Shout out to all my single moms. You know who to hit up. Both of us. Single still, right? Single still?
Yeah.
And you know, Valentine's Day passed or whatever, but we still love y'all. You know where to find us. Oh, by the way, where can we find you? Your socials, YouTube, all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. So everything's under Chris J. Hudson on, when it comes to music, it's Chris J. Hudson Music.
Like one word.
Chris, the letter J, Hudson, Hudson, the word music. I'll pop up on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Twitter.
All that stuff.
You name it.
Awesome.
You name it. And so for acting, it's a whole different.
We're gonna have to tap in that. But
that's how we met. That's how we met. It was acting. It's just diversifying.
Diversifying. We love diversity. Just a shout out to that school. Your school 1000. And you said how many Asians were there?
There were more Asians.
Than
blacks.
That's actually hilarious. Well, shout out to diversity. But yeah,
shout out to diversity.
By the way, another shout out and flowers. His music videos, y'all. I forgot which song it was, but the one where it's like the camera's moving a little.
Oh yeah, Midnight Blue.
Woo, exactly.
Y'all gotta check that out.
Y'all gotta check that out, man.
Midnight Blue.
I'm about to, I don't know the lyrics, but one day I'll learn how to sing from my sensei over here. But that music video, oh my god, I was like. In my feels, I'm like, I'm about to hit up my ex. Forgot recording. Chris, come on, man.
Feelings coming back up.
That's the type of music. Memories. Yeah, that's the type of music he has.
Absolutely.
How do you write that type of music, though? I'm so curious because I'm not a songwriter or like musician by any means, but could you walk me through like a little step-by-step process of writing that type of music, for example?
Well. For me, I usually write everything myself. And as far as including the music, right? Excuse me. The Coke Zero effect.
There we go.
So I'll be on the piano, right? Or the keyboard or guitar. And I'll be playing and I'll stop at something that makes me feel a certain kind of way. And I'll say, ooh, I like what I'm doing right here. Let me just stop. Those chords that I'm playing, let me just cut all the other stuff out that I was just doing and just zero in on these last like 10 seconds that I've been playing. And I'll usually loop that and I'll say, I let it play over and over again. And I'll say, how does it make me feel? Like, what does it make me think of? And usually the first thing that comes is actually the melody. And so people who don't know music, melody is the notes, the actual notes. So like C, D, G, E, F.
All those,
right?
Yeah.
So like, I'll just like hum like, you know?
Damn, hold up, y'all.
You know what I mean?
All right, I can just leave now. I'm just gonna leave real quick.
So
my brother,
that's like a melody comes first, and then the words form.
Okay.
And so all that stuff, low key, it comes from your subconscious mind. So not to get too deep, but a lot of times music, because it has this effect on us that we have a hard time really comprehending. But a lot of times, I don't know if you've ever noticed, you're driving in your car, right?
Yeah.
You're singing along to this song that you love, but you never really listen to what they're actually saying.
Oh, all the time.
Right? And then the lyrics pop on, you're like, oh, that's what he's talking about, or that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Right? But you don't have to know what they're talking about to feel it.
Oh,
to love
that's
it.
true.
Because music is a feeling, right? So it hits our subconscious mind first. So that's why even when like you play music for like little kids that are just barely learning to walk, you don't have to teach them about music.
They know about it.
They start dancing instinctively.
Bro, I'm glad that you
Right?
point that out because honestly, I love a lot of music that's like, I don't understand the language, whether it's Spanish, it's French, it's like Chinese, and I don't know the lyrics until later. Like, you know, especially all the like, shout out to all my Latinas and especially my Latinas, you know. All that music is always like big booty, slap the booty, you know, like, and like I didn't realize it either. I'm like, because I'm saying all the, I'm barely saying
sure.
I
didn't even know that's what they were saying.
No, that they were talking about, oh, you know, slap it a little bit, you know, left side, right side. But
Left cheek, right cheek. Left cheek, right cheek.
yeah, I didn't know, obviously. But like, you know, a lot of those lyrics are way more like explicit and all that crazy stuff. But yeah, the music just moves you. I'm just like, I don't know what you're saying. Oh yeah, like it just like
It's a feel.
it's a feeling, and it's hard to pinpoint it. You can't really calculate it. Can't really. I mean, funny enough, it's funny like with sound engineers. How does that work out though? Because I know some like, isn't there some melodies that just make more sense because of how they connect, or what is that called exactly? You know, when like, let's say, the C chord and whatever chord is gonna. Oh, look, we got a little special effect. Whoop. What is that? The fireworks, and we're back. Yeah. Special. Speaking of special effects, but what is that called when like certain notes just sound good together? The chords. What is that called?
So you're thinking of harmony.
Harmony. That's the word. So, is that like? Can that be calculated too? Then technically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would be like a good, let's say like, we're not going to make a song now, but like imagine I wanted to make a quick Patty song, you know, like how could you walk me through that whole little mini process? Like what's the best way of action to do that?
Okay, so I would say depends on where you're starting from, whether you have a melody already in your head. If you do, then we would use those notes that you're singing as our guide. And we would say, okay, these more than likely in our Western musical society, right? So we're using like thinking about like classical music, and each different society has their own scales, chords, notes, same. So we would say, okay, we'd find whatever key it's in first, and you'd say, okay, it sounds like he's singing in C major,
Or whatever it is. Yeah, that's an example. Yeah.
C major is made up of a certain amount of notes, and that's going to be 7, theoretically. My music nerds are going to be like, well, technically it's 8. It's not 8. The octave is the same as the first note, right? So it's technically 7 because the 8th note repeats. So anyways, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm learning so much now. Look at that.
So we'd say, okay, so these 7 notes in this key, that's our paint. That's our palette that we could choose to paint from.
Oh, there we go.
So we would base our chords off of the melody in that key.
Oh.
So that's why it's important. Everyone usually when they start music is they start learning your scales.
And like the theory. Yeah, no, because I've seen that a lot because, you know, you seeing it because, you know, growing up in the church, a lot of people playing the instruments and all this stuff. I play a little guitar, but just like the basic stuff. But one of my uncles, he's like, shout out to my boy Omaroli, plays like keyboard, all that stuff. But for some reason, he can just listen to a song and just, you know, like make it again, like replicate it kind of, and then just find the melody, the harmony, all that stuff. And I'm like, what in the world? But then I didn't realize that people study this. There's like essentially like a science to it almost, where like you kind of can plug and play. Obviously, everything's not perfect. You can always like break the rules and everything, but it's so fascinating. Music is such a beautiful thing, man. But
Quincy
music.
Jones says it's a combination of soul and science.
So, soul and science.
So
There
what
we
you
go.
were talking about, he's playing that's soul. But science is knowing the theory behind it,
Yeah.
why certain notes work together. And I would say like jazz musicians, they know how to combine the two so that they can break the rules and play things that typically wouldn't be allowed and make it sound cool.
Ooh, that's true. I've noticed that with a lot of jazz, it sounds like it has this own little, like the little, a little rebellious.
Right.
A little rebellious, just like our boy Chris over here. Because he's
That's why
not
I
just a
love jazz.
musician. He does it all. Voice acting as well.
Oh yeah,
Of
got to use your
course.
voice. Well, it all comes from being in music. It's
There
like
we
you're
go.
in front of the mic anyway. And instead of singing a song, they're just like, "Hey, read this ad copy," and you're like, "Oh, okay." And
That's
we're
a
gonna
bet.
pay you.
X
I was
amount of dollars.
getting my rent paid.
There
I was
we
paying
go.
my rent when
As
I
it
graduated college. I was like, "You're gonna seriously?
It's crazy.
All I gotta do is
Entertainment-
read this little book, the
Entertainment
kid's
is-
book, and
yeah,
you're
it's-
gonna pay my rent." Okay,
You just say that. Say here. You want me to read
Absolutely.
another one? I got you right now. Like
every month.
entertainment is so funny. Getting paid for it, it's such a blessing,
Oh,
and
man, it's the greatest.
it's amazing. It's just so weird. It's trippy. It's like that imposter syndrome sometimes comes up. You're like, am I getting scammed? Am I worth it? Or like,
Is this real?
Is this real? This is trippy. This is really wild. But this guy does it all. That's how we met in our favorite place. Squid Games.
Games, that's right. The
Oh
acting
man,
world.
The acting
So
world.
yeah, post college, I studied music for a bit, but then I had my son, and it was like, hey, family time now. Let's work. You know what I mean? And I ended up coming back to it. Went to school, but I didn't go back. So I went back to school when I was 26,
Oh,
and instead of finishing my major in music, I decided to switch to communications instead.
bro, I'm a communication major too. Look at that.
Holla at your
Okay.
boy.
You said 26. I'm 26 now. I might have to go back to school then.
You already got your degree.
Well,
You're chilling.
maybe I get my master's in women's studies, international. You know who you are. Stop playing.
International.
Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I told you it's the R&B aura. I was listening
R&B
to the
aura.
song, But okay, so you got
Season
the
of Love.
Season of Love, exactly. Communication degree, and then after that, you were with your son still, or like what's that whole
Oh,
thing?
so when that happened, so my son's half Navajo, Indian, and Native American, and I met his mom actually at the University of Arizona in Native American Studies class.
Wow.
And so when she graduated, she's a teacher, and she started moving to different reservations around the state to teach.
Wow.
And of course, we ended up splitting up, and she took my son with her, so they were traveling. So we were always kind of a long distance, in a long distance situation.
Man, but this guy's always with his son, man. Always finding a way.
Gotta find a way.
I love that. Shout out to
right.
you. There was I think you guys were doing some community service together that
Oh
time.
yeah,
That was,
around the
bro,
holidays.
That was beautiful,
volunteer
man.
work.
I love that, man.
Yeah, it's important to give back because especially nowadays kids,
Oh my God, yeah.
they get everything, right? And so especially when you're a kid, a lot of times you don't have to work for it because everything's given to you. You got
Absolutely.
generous aunties and uncles and grandparents,
Yeah.
and they don't know the value of working for it, right? So it's super, super, super important to let kids know that, like, hey, nothing really comes for free in this world. Even in relationships, you have to work for your relationships.
That part.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, mom and dad, unlimited love, yes, but you have to call mom. You have to call dad when it's their birthdays. You know what I mean? It takes work. It takes work. Like, you have to garden and tend the garden. You have to
Tend the garden. The Zen
build
garden.
relationships. So there's always work that's involved. And so we think that, like, oh, I could just pay my taxes and exist and I'm good. It's like, no, man, the community needs you. It relies on other people on people's actions to make it work.
Participation kind of thing.
Yeah. And so, like, volunteering is just doing your part to give back in your free time to make your community a better place.
Wow, I love that, man. That makes so much sense because it's funny enough. You started Squid Game way earlier, right? Like November, December that year. So I came a little late to Squid Game, and it took us a while to actually connect because I think I was doing more front of house stuff in the beginning. But man, I remember our first First of all, I don't know who let us work together.
Bad idea.
Good idea for us. Bad idea for everybody else.
No work got done.
Oh, yeah, basically not. Basically, we love y'all, though. Shout out to Supervive Events, everybody. Hopefully get everyone on the podcast.
Squid Gang.
The Squid Gang. I love y'all. It was a really great time. But, bro, I remember exactly our first, like, conversations just connecting in the back room, man. We just, it was weird, like, how, like, well, a week before that we didn't know each other, but it felt like
Say what's up in the break room.
Yeah, say what's up. Just like hi, always like good energy. But then when we actually like chopped it up, bro, because it was a slow day that day. Right, please, you can't fire us. We're already gone. Y'all can't do anything. Front man, what you gonna do? He comes out of nowhere. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
The cameras go up.
Yeah, it's our Patty show. It's delayed or something. But bro, we just like. It just connected like that, man. Yeah. Whether it was like laughing about like, you know, some women's stories and stuff like that. But also like the passion about like art and just being a good human being, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a fun time, bro. Because we had, I think we were there. How long was that shift? It was like almost 7
hours. Yeah.
But bro, I kid you not, that day felt like it was like done. Like 30 minutes.
It goes quick.
We were just like vibing. So that was a beautiful time. He was one of the guards. And then I forgot what I was doing over there. Was I doing like the buttons, I think, or something? I can't remember. I cannot remember exactly.
Wasn't it front of house? Oh no, were you a ref? Mobile ref.
Yeah, mobile ref. But I was like,
or no. Because you wouldn't be able to hang out that long if you're a mobile ref.
I was the ref that was pressing the buttons for the last game. And then you were,
egg and spoon.
Yes, you remember that? Yeah.
All right.
Because that's the reason why I was still doing my job. Like, stop playing. Everyone thinks I'm not working.
Patty was on his phone.
Yeah, bro,
I was like, hey,
my girl from,
shouldn't you be working, Patty?
Yeah, I'm playing my girl on WhatsApp, Sweden. You know, but bro, that was such a great time, and I had so many great memories. From Squid Games, man. We were having a lot of good laughs. We can't tell the whole stories. Let's just say that. Because we were going through some stuff.
That's right. We got to keep it PG-13.
Keep it PG-13. But it was a lot of also good advice because this man, like I said, he's my sensei and mentor because this guy has been through a lot. And I legitimately thought you were like, at most, bro, 30. So the fact that you said like, oh, you got a kid, 13. I'm like, let me do the math. Like, well, he had his kid when he was like 12 or something. Like I don't know how this works. They don't like. I'm not the best at math. That's why I'm a podcast host. Sorry, mom and dad. We love you. That's kind of my spiel.
Right. Different skills.
Different skills. Like communication degree, but trying to do everything and all that good stuff. But let's go to our first talking point. Like I said, we always jump around over here.
Oh yeah,
the Patty Show. Always have fun. Because like I said, I'm with my brother, Chris J. Hudson, right? J is...
Chris J.
What does the J stand for?
That's my middle name, James.
James. Smooth man. And this episode's going to come out after the tour, but what's the band that you're in, that you're touring with, by the way?
So I'm touring in a band that's called Private Eyes. They're a Hall & Oates tribute act, the biggest one in the U.S. We tour all over the U.S. and some international dates, though I'm new to the band, so I haven't gotten any of the international dates yet. But we're playing, well, by the time this comes out, we've been already playing the East Coast, Virginia, D.C. area. We've got another tour that's going to be coming up the first week of September. We'll be heading up to New York and Canada, and we'll be coming back, looping around, hopefully ending in Detroit, Michigan.
Ooh, that's exciting, man. Where in Canada is it, by the way?
Toronto.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to make a visit. I haven't been to Canada yet, bro, actually.
Neither have I. This will be my first time.
Amen.
Plenty of trips to Mexico.
Oh, you know we're ready.
Not Canada.
Oh, man, we got to go. Mexico was fun, man. When I went, oh, man, I got to go back, but I might fall in love again. So, Toronto, I might fall in love also, but international, man, let me know those international dates. Patty Show going international.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? But yes, our first talking point, my man. Okay. We're focused on pleasure today. But my first talking point, the power of body positivity. Yes, very important time to be positive with your body, you know, because without your body, you can't really do anything. You know, I mean, you could, you know, so we're grateful that we're able-bodied. And I'm also, like I said, grateful you're safe, bro. That's still crazy, y'all. Stay safe out there. People cannot drive, especially in LA. That's the only. That's the thing.
Everyone's in a hurry.
Exactly. For what, y'all? Be safe out there. But my first question for this first talking point, what are some common misconceptions about body image, and how can we overcome them in your life, bro?
So, well, body image is something that we think, a misconception is that we think that there's a one standard of beauty. And it's like, oh, it's what I see in a magazine, or it's what is on my TV screen that Hollywood wants. But the thing is that every different culture has different standards of beauty.
Absolutely.
And even the different cultures that are within the United States. So I always say there's something for everyone. Like I'm tall, I'm 6'4", right? And I grew up skinny. Like you can't really see with my jacket, but you can see my arms. They're pretty thin, you know? So that's something that like I would always get kind of picked on by that when some girls would just be like, oh, you're too skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too lanky or whatever. They say something like that, yeah.
And so I always feel a certain type of way, like I wasn't strong enough. You know what I mean? So I grew up feeling a certain kind of way. And we got headphones on right now, but my ears are pretty big. Obama calls them power ears.
Shout out Obama.
So
He's going to be on the show too. Stop playing.
He
He did go to Indonesia though a couple years. So my boy,
you never know.
You know, you really never know. You know,
life is long.
Life is long and life is unpredictable. Like I said,
you never know. So, so you know what? I got picked on with my ears, with my being skinny and things. So it wasn't until I got older where I was like, I found that there were girls who like skinny guys. You know what I mean? Like the quote unquote rock star look.
yeah,
You know what I mean? They're like, I like tall guys. I like skinny guys. My hair fell out when I had my first kid.
There's all the stress from that. It's all the stress.
It was a stressful time.
I can imagine.
It was a stressful time. Being in school full time,
Oh, man.
and having
Shout out
a
to
1
you,
and 2 year old kid, and you know, just trying my best to keep food in his mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was very stressful. But I was freaking out. I don't have hair. Oh my God. I'm my mid-20s when I went bald.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm looking 10 years older. You know what I mean? And so I met a girl even just recently, this was last year, but she was like, oh, I love bald men. You know what I mean?
It's and you're like, cha-ching, jackpot. I don't know if you guys see right here, we got the slot machine. Slot machine. I don't know where they got this from, but nah, bro, that's...
So yeah, it's like there's someone for everyone.
There's someone for
no
everyone.
No matter what you think you look like, oh no, I don't like this, I don't like this. I would say when you're reflecting back, you're looking at yourself, your self-image, you got to always start from a place of love. That's so right. So that doesn't mean that I love myself so much that I never want to change, or have anything that I should change. It's like, no, you could still say, I'd love to make improvements.
Absolutely.
But you got to start from a place of self-love first. Like, oh, I love the way I look. But you know what? It would be even better if I lost, however much pounds, or
got a little stronger, or whatever.
Even bigger biceps. So you're starting from a place of love instead of being like, oh, I hate myself because I don't have big arms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because and it's a Western thing for sure. I won't get too much in the detail, but I was reading a paper where like 1909, there was the medical standards practice came out, and at that point, they segregated all the different organs and systems that we have into different little subgroups. And so it makes it really hard when there's, disease or an ailment that affects multiple ones, because, you have a general practitioner, but you always see specialists, right, for each different part of the body. Yeah. So we always tend to think of things separate, but our things like body image, it helps with our self-esteem, right? It can help with learning and things like that. Like if you're in school and you feel like everyone's looking at you or judging you or things like that, you know what I mean? You're not going to learn as quick. You know what I mean? You're not going to be as good of a student as if you were confident, positive, and really loving yourself.
Because that mind state is like super important, man. And I really love how you pointed out like this. Something. What is it? Somebody for anyone? What did you say exactly before that?
Oh, there's someone for everyone.
There's someone for everyone. And I've honestly I mean, I talked to you about my travel story. I can't say all the travel stories that we talked about that day, because he knows. Well, maybe Patty Show After Hours, the late night version.
You never know. Yeah,
rated P for Patty and pleasure. But it's so true, bro. Like I felt that kind of like insecurity too, growing up, like more chubby side Asian boy and like the hood. To be honest, like everyone's like black, Hispanic, like. There weren't many Asians, and I looked like the kid from Up, had no girls. And then growth spurt hit, still no girls. But it took a while. But, when you travel, bro, people just find that uniqueness. That's why, like, I joke about, like, Sweden and all the Nordic countries, whatever. But a person like me, bro, there's no one out there that looks like that. Everyone's, like, tall, blonde. But the funny thing is everyone wants someone that's tall and blonde over here. But then there's other places like, no, actually, I want someone that's medium sized. I'm 6 foot tall, and a little crispy with long hair. Like there's always those nuances that everyone likes. Everyone has their own different palette and whatever. And it's obviously easier said than done when you're in the moment and you feel like, oh man, no one's like messing with me. I'm like, oh, maybe I have to completely change. I have to be bald. I have to have a slit on my eyebrow. I have to
get a bunch of tattoos.
Exactly, bro. But. It's when you, like you were saying, it has to come from, from the love first, man, the self-love. And then you can kind of be like, all right, I'm gonna hit the gym. All right, I'm going to do something else with my dad. Oh, then I'm going to get a tattoo. Don't get it just because of the external, but more like the internal kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Man, that's beautiful, man. Look at he's teaching us all. Look at that. I told you. This is
we could go deep, Patty.
Dude, this is the sensei mode right here. He learned it all from R. Kelly. Cue
the sound effect.
I believe.
Like my demo actually did reach R. Kelly.
I'm kidding. Not that I know. Guys, I'm kind of scared. Someone help me. Somebody help me.
You got a party feeder attending.
Oh, man. He said, forget the Super Bowl. We got the Kelly Bowl, okay? Oh, my God, bro. Thanks for sharing, though, and being vulnerable, man. I appreciate that because it also takes a while for you to accept that, like, hey, man, we've had those feelings, especially as men, man. You know how it is. We always try to block a lot of things. I mean, growing up, too, I'm sure it's similar to you. Like, my dad would tell me, like, yo, you just don't cry. Like, just whatever it is, like, nah, no one can see you crying, all that kind of stuff. So it's cool now that it's more mainstream in a way that we can like talk about these things, have a good laugh, chuckle, and just be men and live our best lives. And I'm gonna be a dad one day, and I'm gonna learn from my dad goat of the year. Are you trying to have another kid though, or
no?
Oh, that was a resounding no.
Nope,
not at all. Not even like, what if the ideal woman, whatever that might be for you, she's like, I think I want to have one more kid. What do you feel? What's the answer? Are you gonna switch it up? Are you gonna?
I'd have to think about it. Because I think that you really can have kids at almost any age. My son was very rambunctious and just a handful, like energy, like you wouldn't believe. And so me and him have a bond because I wanted to be the dad that like would play with him. You know what I mean? That was like, they're wrestling. You know what I mean? Because my dad was more stoic. You know what I mean? So it was like, hey, come play with this dad. And he'd be like, I'm watching the game. You know what I mean? But he was there for us in other ways.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
I mean? So
different style of like
different
parenting.
style. Yeah. So for me, I was like, well, I know kids really connect with people by playing. You know what I mean? That's how they connect with each other.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be that dad. That was, out, wrestling with him and doing activities and things. And so that requires to be the kind of dad that I like or that I want to be, that required a lot of energy. And so as I'm getting older, so now I'm 38.
38?
I'm 38.
God bless you. 38?
And so my kid's 13, so it's like, okay, so if I get into another relationship and things go further out, then one, he's going to be almost graduating in high school. I'd imagine in another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, how is the connection going to be the same with him and any future kids? Am I still going to have that same kind of energy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think I wouldn't mind if someone, the next future Mrs. Hudson, already had a son or daughter.
Yeah.
Daughter, I would say preferred, because, I have a son. So going through that's been amazing. And, and I can relate to him in a different way. You know what I mean? That I would be able to with a woman, a girl. But I would love to see how it feels to have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's beautiful, man. You make me want to become a parent, man. I'm about to make some phone calls.
Girls, if you're watching.
I'm trying to build a foundation. And I mean, also my mom, she's always like, "When I want to become a grandma?" And I'm like, to be honest with you, you could be a grandma any day. No, I'll have to get my mom on the show. She's gonna kill me. Like I said, she's in Bible school now too. My whole family super religious. So yeah, I'm gonna be in trouble. But
he's gonna get married first.
Yeah, you're right. Marry first.
Yeah.
That's why I told him. He always saves me. See, it's all about that love,
He's gonna get married first, and then the kids are gonna come.
Yeah, of course, magically.
Even if it's a shotgun wedding. In Vegas, the drive-through with the Elvis.
Yeah, the Elvis
Elvis priest.
She's like,
"I'll now pronounce you."
It still will be not sinning. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey, rock and roll wedding.
There we go. It's Hollywood. That's how we do it. Holla at your boy. Stop playing. It's all about love and self-love.
I'll be a witness.
Oh, there you go.
I'll sign for you.
Jesus. That's what it's about. Self-love, finding the people that love you too, man. Like I said, I appreciate you. And that transitioned perfectly to our second talking point about self-love, my man. And not just self-love, but practicing that self-love, man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got to share what it's about with this self-love. All right, my man? So what are some practical ways that we can cultivate this self-love and self-acceptance in our daily lives? I know you pointed it out a little bit when we were talking about that, like body image and just starting from within. Could you expand upon that a little bit more for our youngins out there? Maybe our 38-year-olds, moms that have daughters. I got you, bro. I got you. Don't worry. Alley-oop,
Alley-oop. Well, I would say great practices are ways to expand upon self-love. I think everything is a practice. We get into goals so much in American culture, but the most important thing is putting the practices in place. Because if you practice hard enough, if you're consistent with it, you'll reach just about any goal that you set, no matter what it is. So, and we tend to think of goals and practices like, hitting the gym. I'll do weights and stuff like that. But practices could mean studying. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's completely open-ended, right? So one of the best practices I would say starts with self-talk, and that can be a variety of different ways. It's important to monitor your self-talk. You can do that by journaling. Is a great practice, great way to kind of get in touch with your feelings, the person that you are at the moment. And people say, oh, I don't have time to journal. I'm one of those guys, actually, in the traditional way, which is writing your thoughts down, every day or every week or what have you. I am an audio guy, right? So
Absolutely.
I love to do voice memos. So I'll go on a walk, clear my head, hit the voice memo button, and just explain what's going on in my life.
Your thoughts, just
my
let
thoughts,
it out,
how things are going. And, a lot of times, the Coke Zero effect.
Coke Zero.
A lot of times I'll be listening back, a month, a year, whatever later, and you're just surprised at how little it all meant.
Yeah.
How much you've grown. You know what I mean? There's so many great benefits, you know what I mean? Because you can say, oh man, I was really, really wrapped up in that issue at that time.
Whatever that is,
and
that girl or whatever,
And it turned out just being okay. So monitoring our self-talk is like super, super, super important. And so journaling is a great way to do that, whether it's like writing or, like I said, voice memos. You can do, if it's not really your thing, and let's say you're very introverted and not super confident, I would, especially being in Hollywood and working on sets and working with stars, and and recording podcasts with celebrities and stuff like I do here, one of the things that they say is practicing self-talk in the mirror. So putting a practice into, so every day, you know, you say, hey, I'll do it for 3 minutes, I'll do it for 5 minutes. When I'm brushing my teeth, big up yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself a few compliments. You know what I mean? Look on the bright side. What's going well in your life? What are you doing well? You know, and if you can't really think of many things, if you're brushing your teeth in the mirror, say, hey, I'm
brushing my teeth.
Consistently brushing, you know, because some people skip days.
Hey, man, that's the
Some
worst.
people don't floss. If you're a flosser, hey, I'm flossing every day. My teeth look good. You know, just start with just the
littlest
basic
things, right?
things. And then, like I said, it's a practice. So the more that you do it, the easier it'll become.
Second nature. Before you know it, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. I'm washing my face every day. I'm sleeping in time.
That's discipline.
I love that. I love
So
that.
you're building discipline.
The journal with the voice, that's such a really good tip, y'all. Voice notes in general, shout out to my boy Chris. So we always send each other voice notes, man. I love hearing your voice notes, man. It's the best because also you get the essence of the message. It's quicker than typing, to be honest.
So much quicker.
So much quicker. And then if you send it to a shawty, you know, this is a little tip, y'all.
They really appreciate it.
Of course, because you get the energy, you feel it. Because texting someone like, yeah, so today I was doing this, da, 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 da. It's not the same. But if you're like, yeah, girl, you know, I was thinking about you, you know. Oh, man, I
play some smooth music in the background.
I play the, what's that song? The Midnight, was it your?
Midnight Blue?
Yeah, I play that in the background. Well, I'm like, yeah, girl, you know, you remember this song? I know you do. We only listened to 20 seconds of it because that's all it took. But
but the vibe was there. The energy was there.
The vibe was there. I just exposed all my secrets now. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very But yeah, the voice stuff is really amazing, bro. I might have to start doing that for like the journaling because I'm not the best writer, and my handwriting looks like some Chinese, but I guess it makes sense because I'm part Chinese. But I do love doing like voice recordings or anything, so that's a really good tip. I might have to do it on my next walk, man. Thanks for sharing that. Look at that, practical all the time, right here.
Absolutely.
It's such a transformative thing too. Like you said, going back to certain things. I love looking at like just random pieces of content. That's why I don't really delete stuff on Instagram. Like you'll see my stuff is like from high school. I think when did I start on Instagram? Like high school time. So they had all the stuff with like ex-girlfriend back then and everything and all the high school stuff. Whatever. It's kind of cool to look back at it and I'm like reflected. I'm like, wow, I've changed a lot. You know, there's like some parts of me that are pretty similar. Like it's kind of cool to see some stuff that's just like as part of your identity of like goofing around. I've always been a goofball, man. I know we've known each other for like what? Like a year? It's been a year now, right? Yeah. It's been a year. But even before, man, this is me. I'm just like a goofball. My dad, he's a goofball too. It's like that's just the essence. But the maturity, bro, I've grown so much. Thankfully, of course, you're one of the reasons there too, man. Meeting people like you that are passionate, have a lot of pleasure in life, are super positive. See the 3 P's of the Patty Show, and man, you just inspire, man. So keep doing your thing, man.
Thank you, man.
I love all these tips, man. Let's go to our final talking point, man. I know you're excited for this one because this one we're gonna talk about overcoming shame and guilt. Okay, and you kind of mentioned the self-talk one, but for this question, man, how can we recognize and challenge that negative self-talk, right? And shame-based thoughts that hold us back from embracing our bodies. I know you talked about it a little bit, but how can we expand a little bit more on that?
Sure. So I would say going into mindfulness is something that really helps. And so mindfulness really is just awareness, right? It's just noticing, being an observer. Meditation can kind of help tie into that because meditation is kind of quieting your mind, usually stilling your mind. In the Eastern tradition and the Western tradition, it's focusing your thoughts on just one topic. But either way, you're kind of asking your mind to hone in on just one thing. So that's being more observant. It all helps you to become more observant. And one of the great physical practices that people can do, and it's kind of, you know, I guess men have an issue with it, but yoga, because it's not traditionally, at least here in the West, thought about like as men, for men. But when I started doing it, it's really just noticing what's going on in your body.
Wow.
And getting kind of out of your mind. You know what I mean? And say, oh, wow, I'm really tense right here.
Yeah, my elbow is feeling some type of way. Yeah.
It's not very flexible. It really hurts if I do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you start kind of being more observant in other ways, right? Not necessarily of your thoughts, but you notice the more that you do it, it's a practice, right? It's a habit.
Practice. Yeah.
And then it just becomes more sharp. And so it affects your life in other ways. Like we were saying, it's not, nothing's just, on its own. It's everything's just
all encompassing kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
All encompassing life. So that helps you. And the more that you practice your self-talk, positive self-talk, especially if you're doing it in front of the mirror, journaling. There's another one for anxiety that I read about where you can practice writing 3, 5, 10, however many compliments.
Oh, okay.
Things that you appreciate about yourself. And then you can do things that you've done right. What did you get right yesterday? You know what I mean? So you do that every day as well. But the more that you practice being positive, loving yourself, and the more observant you are, that's the easier you'll notice when you're not.
Oh, that's
if that makes sense. Because most of the time, our minds are just firing all the time.
Absolutely.
Like a little kid running around, like throwing stuff.
Yeah.
And even when we try to sit still, we can't control it. We're always thinking about something. But the more observant we are, we can be the parent in the room. That's like, this kid is running out of control. What am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And so the more positivity that's in, when there's negativity, you notice. You notice there's a difference. And you're like, hey, I'm not being super positive right now. And, sometimes we end up going into what's called negativity spirals, right? Which is like our brain just gets into habits, So sometimes we start thinking negatively about something and then we just can't stop and we just keep going down a rabbit hole of negativity. You know what I mean? Like a feedback loop. But like I said, the more that we practice it, the more that we practice being observant by those practices that we mentioned, or those activities that I mentioned earlier, the more you'll start to notice when the opposite is happening of what you want. Wow. And so when that does happen, it's important that you don't jump off the deep end and say, oh, I'm a terrible person. I'm horrible. I'm an idiot. I'm a this and that. Because that's not coming from a place of love. When you're doing your self-talk, you want to make sure you're talking like you would to your best friend. And you wouldn't like destroy your best friend. Yeah. For a lot of the little things that happen in life, you come through it with a place of love and just be like, yeah, no, you messed up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or what have you. But that's okay because you're a smart guy. You'll figure out a way to get past it, So when you're doing your self-talk, make sure that you're coming from a place of love and you're treating yourself like your best friend. Because after all, it's only you.
That's true.
You are your best friend. You have to be the best friend. Even if you have someone that's really close to you, wife, spouse, they're not going to be with you all the time. But you are with you all the time. Those thoughts are with you all the time.
Absolutely. 24/7. You're with yourself. You're with Chris J. Hudson. You're with Hattie. It's like that's such a beautiful thing, man. And I think being single, you know how we do. We've honed that in a lot. We realize how lonely it gets, but also it's a powerful thing, though, especially when you really love yourself. Because I enjoy my alone time sometimes, just like most of the time. Because we're with ourselves, our entities, our bodies, our everything, 24/7, whatever that may be. And also shout out to your yoga. That you mentioned, because yoga is a fun one. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie, all the movements and everything. My shoulders are a little tense. I might have to. I did Muay Thai yesterday, bro. I'm like so tight from that one. That's a different type of exercise. That's too stressful. You do yoga though, like for fun, or do you teach yoga? What's that?
Oh well, I was kind of in between. I started off doing it for fun, and then I guess they liked my vibe at the yoga studio that I was in, so I started volunteering at certain events and that kind of led me to be kind of in between a practitioner and a teacher.
There we go. I love that,
so I was like an assistant, a teaching assistant.
Would you ever want to try to be like, not full-time yoga teacher, because he does it all, like I said, but like have your own classes?
I could see myself doing it as I get older. I'm really big into meditation. So I would say I would much rather lead meditation. I even have a meditation music YouTube that I created called Hudson Haven. Little shout out.
Shout out, yes, please.
If you need some cool music to just relax to, Hudson Haven. It's all handcrafted, no like press an AI button and it spits it out. It's like, no.
This is organic, you know. We didn't
We
didn't need no crazy producers from R. Kelly now, okay? This is Hudson.
Yeah.
What's it called? It's called Hudson.
Hudson Haven.
Hudson Haven. I love that. That's very meditative, actually. Very peaceful. And all that stuff.
Exactly. You can feel the energy in the music.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna have to use that for another meditation. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to get canceled. You know what I'm saying? But no, that's awesome, man. Because I feel like also with you really have to go to Bali. Actually, now we did talk about this a little bit because you know my family's from Indonesia, but Bali, bro, you would love it. All the people up there do a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga. Some of them are like Ponzi scheme stuff, like scammers are like, yeah, just do this. Give me $500 first, and then we'll do our course. Yeah, but the people there are super nice, and I feel like you would really fit in with. They would love you too, man. They love tall chocolate man. Let's just say, because I went with my boy Lucario. He was on the podcast. He had a fun time. It was after a break. Let's say he had a fun time. Yeah. So let me know when we get that trip going, man. That's where the palm trees are, you know. But yoga, man. Shout out to yoga and all that body awareness and then the mind and everything. Everything's like so connected. I love that about like physical activity. Movement is medicine. You know, sometimes just going for a walk or even doing a little simple stretch, you know, reach for something or whatever. It helps like unclog the mind. I think I've been doing a lot of walks after like meals, especially like any like big lunch or whatever. I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna walk around the block and go back up, take the stairs, and just keep the body moving. Helps with digestion and all that stuff. So keep the body moving, y'all. Take care of your body. Love your body. And it has to come from love, you said?
That's right. Got to come from a place of love.
Has to come from a place of love. And I love that you're my brother, man. I'm grateful for you, man. I'm so grateful, bro. Like, we didn't even talk about the sets, like I said. But this whole set is just a blessing to be here. Patty Show is going to have our own set eventually. That's why you got to support us at Patty Show Podcast. That's our YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Tinder. I mean, not Tinder. I got banned from. No, okay, I did. No. I did. I'm joking. But that's where you can find us. The website is pattyshow.podbean.com or pattysetiotti.com/podcast.
Nice.
You know, I got that domain, man. You know, I'm learning from my sensei, trying to get it all. You have any final like closing remarks for people out there, man, to spread the love, especially, you know, about body positivity and everything? I know you had a lot of great bangers today, man.
Oh, for sure. I would say that we tend to think that we have to do things extreme. I have to take a class. I have to do things that cost a lot of money. When it comes to yoga, there's a lot of free resources. YouTube, number one, you don't have to pay $20 for a class. You could do it in your living room, like what I started doing it during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah?
Just from the living room, just watching YouTube videos. For meditation, you don't have to pay. I think the class is like $400 for transcendental meditation. You don't have to go to the center and do all that to learn about it. You can watch YouTube videos. There are guided meditations that you can do online that are free to get into the practice.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't necessarily need to pay someone to do it. There's so many free resources, so don't let that be a barrier, right? So do whatever you can to stay resourceful, which is the great thing about living in LA. You have to.
Absolutely.
You really have to.
Parking spots are crazy nowadays.
You just get resourceful.
Yeah.
Don't let anything stand in your way. Find a way around it. I promise you, there's always a way around that obstacle that might be in your life that you can do. You just have to unlock the power of your mind.
Power of your mind. The mind connects to the body. All that love. My boy Chris, bro, I appreciate you greatly. Bottom of my heart.
Yes,
this
sir.
man is killing it. What's the socials again? We got...
Chris J. Hudson Music for everything. Number one, though, Instagram. Instagram's where you'll find me the most. So, hit me up.
Ooh, there we go. See that? Everyone's waiting for him. Look at that. Oh, my God, Chris, I love you. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. And go check out that Midnight Blue.
Midnight Blue. I'm telling you that. That's helped me a
Fresh.
couple times. I won't say for who. I mean, for what? but we'll talk about that off.
Just go play some good music.
Yeah, off there,
Go
good
play some
vibes,
music,
man.
Good vibes. Yeah,
Bro, I'm
absolutely.
grateful for you again. Thanks for having this whole setup. I'm just grateful. Also, shout out to the people that have this actual setup. Maybe I'll get you on the podcast. That'll be a fun time, little episode. I just feel super inspired, and yeah, it's just a blessed day. Blessed to have you, man. Our next episode gonna come out soon. I'm trying to every week, just like you said, taking it step by step. Every week, minimum, at least an episode. Not putting too much pressure in and getting that practice in, because you gotta love yourself. There's so much enemies and negativity out there. If you beat yourself up, there's not gonna be enough of you left to do anything. So y'all, show some love to yourself. Be positive. Have some pleasure. And enjoy your passion. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna end with a little arigato together, because he's a meditation mastermind. We can do it on 3 whenever you're ready, my man. 1, 2, 3. Arigato. Thank you, everybody. Woo! Thanks for joining me on this episode of The Patty Show. I hope you had as much fun as I did exploring the crossing point of the 3 Ps: passion, pleasure, and positivity. If you want to keep the Patty Party going, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all social platforms at Patty Show Podcast. Share this episode and leave a positive review. PattySatiati.com/podcast, as well as pattyshow.podbean.com, have got more of your Patty Show needs. In the meantime, keep passionately pursuing your personal paradise. Arigato.